I am giving you a warning. And you say it's time. Get ready to worship Jesus. I am giving you a warning. So put up your worship. Jesus Christ is in the air. You love it tonight, the mighty man of God. Somebody big up Jesus. Yes, some people want you to touch them, pursue them, you know. They want money, but we not touch them. Pipe on them and tell them, say people business are leaving. Hallelujah. all the ministers that minister tonight, they do an excellent job. And you people have to keep on the prayer. Thank you for the support. Hey! One of the people support the CD, them downstairs. All of the people, all of the sinners, them, I'll see them. People now produce gospel music, so when they don't support it, then we can do new songs. So buy a CD, man. If you have it already, buy it and give somebody at the workplace for a gift. And they have a special deal if you buy the 3 album. I'm coming down. Big up the musician, them one rehearsal and then do a good job. Only mountain now. Whoa, whoa, whoa. God bless you tonight. In this life, me trial were many. Some of the time them me know say be a fire in the air now. So no go say we people do no go sing it like all me sing it. Here in a feet. Yeah, can't be a fire people there here. Me have been Jamaica from a Jersey, so me have sing the Jamaica way. And sometime me foot them get weary. Oh, and it feel like I would stumble. I know them are gonna see so. Me know them are gonna say fall. But sometimes when my problem come in a fall, you know me know. And it feel like I would stumble and drop a grave. Me know myself, but the jail to lands and leave me. I wish some people that just feel the presence of God tonight. Some people just shout out and walk up your mouth and say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. But the jail to lands that lead me. Put up your hand and say, lead me, Jesus. It's the hand that lead me steady. You see, I won't leap away while I won't leap past some millions. Oh, scare. Nothing wrong with that. Put up on hand tonight and say, Jesus, give me grace that I would make it after all. Can you walk me out and sing? And after all, it's like just we are man. Just we are man. We are man. We are man. We are man. We are man.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name is Sheldon Scott, here with you up until the 10 o'clock hour. Yes, indeed. Yeah, a bit unusual because I'm on a Friday. Yes, it's our first Friday night forum actually for the year 2025. We've not had the Friday night forum since since December. So a special good night to all of you joining us via the various mediums. Just making sure we get the numbers up so we can start tonight's discussion. Yeah, nights like this. I miss Chris London, man. Chris London, where are you? Yeah. Some folks are saying they're hearing me very low. What it is with me and microphones then? Yeah, I think you should be hearing me much better right now. Well, at least I'm hearing me much better. So I think you should be hearing me much Much better right there. That should be much better. Just trying to avoid the, yeah, I'm trying to avoid having the noise join into it. Yeah. So let me see now. Yeah, that should work there. And keep this. Yeah, yeah. This is it. Yeah. Right. Nice. We're getting that there. Yeah, ease on that there, and go up here a little bit. Nice. Yeah, you should be hearing me much better there now. Yeah. You see, I'd actually taken down everything for the weekend. I usually on a nightly basis now, due to where I am, I have to strip everything and put it aside and then put it back together the following night for the next program. Yeah.
I love this part. I like it. I trust that I made it, but I know he said.
And probably while I was stripping everything down, yeah, I changed the settings on the board. Yeah.
Help me unto him. I'm the prayer and keep on going. Rolling forces, keep on trusting. We can believe.
So let me say good night to you, Gillian Noel, Carib Spice Fitness. Debbie Seals, good night to you. Jefferson Hagley, JC Sherry, Sherma Jeremiah. I see Kathleen Ledlow, Dennis Sandy, Faithlin Hallie Douglas. I see you there as well. Moko Joseph, Moko Ben, good night to you. Maud Martin, Veronica Lewis Alexander, Dolores Redhead, Alban Harris, Patsy Frank, Bernadette Joseph, Norma Felix, Tessa Collymore, good night to you. And Cicely Celestine, Anne-Marie Grant, Deborah Laborde, Fitzroy Phillip, Raphael Williams, Janice Mitchell, Deborah Laborde. I usually call Deborah Laborde more than once because they're over several times in the chat. Rodney Barry, good night to you. Chunky McIntyre, good night. And let me see who else is there. Andrea Burke, Amanda Moses, good night. And Cynthia Bartholomew, Bernadette Joseph, Sheldon Sylvester, Anne-Marie Grant, Edmund Callis, Janice Mitchell, Jefferson Hagley, and Jennifer Toussaint, Vero Wellington, Pamela Hackett. Yeah, good night to all of you. And over on the Facebook, I see Charmaine, Margaret. Who's there? Come on, let me see. All the things just disappear in front of me. Yeah, so let me see who's there. Leroy, good night to you. Yvonne Courtney, good night to you, my dear. Patrick Roberts, Olive McEwen, Cynthia B., Esther Peters, Charmaine Ragbasing, good night to you, my dear. Hope you're holding strong. Wallan Aquat, Sherry Lambert, and I see Winnie Simon, Martin Charles, Ruth Thomas, Donna Langdon. Saucy Bain, yeah, you wouldn't get me the normal way. If you're trying to call on my normal number, you won't find me there. Yeah, Wallan Aquat, I gave you the number to call me on, Saucy Bain. Yeah, Wallan Aquat, Patrick Merle, and let me see, Margaret Felix, Donna Langdon, Cynthia Collins, Shemi Joseph, good night to you as well. Yes, indeed.
But his word, he speak unto me, just as you made days to labor. Can you put up your hands and we could put up in my word? On my leg. Tell them and I cry, upon the mountain top. So
Good night to you, Miss Andrew Marilyn Panchu, Desiree Joseph, Pamela Hackett. Good night to you, Jocelyn Matheson. I think some folks who got in late and just finishing what Simon says, so they ain't come over yet. You know, the courthouse make for everybody, you know. So if you find people that be saying things and they're not true, for instance, if they find that Jenny Simon is saying things on her program that is not true, the courts are available for redress. They can go to the courts, and no, not courts, the place to buy like fridge and TV and them kind of thing. Courts, yeah, they can take her to court, legal action, right? Nice, yes. They can take legal action against her if they believe what she's saying is not true, and they can prove that what she's saying is not true, and she's lying when she calls Andy Williams et al. Corrupt, then take her to court, yes. Take her to court, yes. Or when people like me repeat it and I say that Andy Williams et al. Are corrupt, yeah, take us to court too, yeah. Salam, Renee Zadi, Natalia, me and you go fall into confusion, eh? Right. Joycelyn Francois, good night to you. And let me see who else is there. Yeah, I got Miss Andrews already. Nice.
Just say, give me grace, everybody say, give me grace, give me grace, give me grace, Caesar, give me grace, Holy Ghost, give me grace, give me grace.
Desiree Joseph, I think you're saying low because you're probably still in the first part of the program before I fix that problem.
Caesar, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Holy God, Jesus, above the Caesar, give me grace. That time will make it.
And yes, folks, you can call in at 8. It's a Friday night program, and usually what we do when we do the Friday night forums is we review what has taken place in the week. Last night, I had planned to be on immediately after the meeting, but you realize how late the meeting ran too. So it didn't make sense coming on for just a half hour, 45 minutes. It didn't make sense. Because by the time I got on and everybody came over and so on, it would already be like 9:30. It didn't make sense at that time. So we decided to do a Friday night program this week. Don't look out for it every week. You would not get it. I'm telling you straight. You will not get a Friday night program all the time. But you're getting one tonight. Nice? Yeah.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
See, that's it. Some folks are saying it loud, some folks are saying it okay, some folks okay. Let me fix it here for you all. Nice. Yeah, you hear that? Nice. I know it is extremely loud right now. Yeah, you'll be hearing me a little better. Nice, a little better here. Because I have to be careful how I mix it, because my voice might start to get distorted over a period of time, yeah? Pray tell, I am not, I don't have my normal mixer. I have another mixer with me. Not my mixer that we got together and we got last year. I don't have that one with me right now, yeah? Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. You go right ahead.
Well, I was going to call you to give some advice on the mixer. So, I'll do that first. Your audio songs is louder than your mic. So, what you need to do is load on your PPL and load on your gain.
No,
right?
I sorted
on your mixer.
I did that a short. You see, to be honest with you, the mixer that I'm using right now, what I'm using right now, that mixer is not the mixer I should be using. It is not a mixer suited to what I am doing. So, while yes, I did adjust the gain a short while ago, and the highs, because the highs, because of the volume of it was making it distorted. So I sorted that out a while ago.
Right, so let me tell you, I am monitoring you on 3 devices: my cell phone, my computer, and my TV. So I'm hearing you properly. The TV is muted. I'm hearing you properly on my cell phone. The computer is fine. Mm-hmm. It is good now with the voice. So all you need to do is just put a little gain on your bass and the mids on your voice, and you're good. It was treble only.
Who tell you this thing a bass? Do you have my bass on this? No. That's what I tell you.
Well,
I'll send what knowing you. I'll send you a picture of the mixer that I'm using. You wouldn't believe it's that I'm
right.
using to do the show.
Right. So no problem. But yeah, it's something proper now. But let me tell you something. Um, prior to the meeting of the NDC press conference, I was trying to figure out what made them come to the road of Damascus to have this meeting, and why they choose to have the two most corrupt, in my view, I'm saying it very clearly, the two most corrupt ministers in my view, because the next one is PRO and an MP, Mr. Study. I could touch them hard. They come down on Tanti Jenny, who's not a journalist, as they say, quote unquote. But the big minister, the big not minister, but the big journalist in the room, who's supposed to ask this question? And Sheldon, let me tell you something. I didn't see or listen to Jenny this afternoon, but I heard on a program yesterday they played her. And I listened to other people who are journalists this morning on program. So even if they play that game of qualifications, they better stop. Because trust me, they are not in a league yet. Because trust me, you, Sheldon, is a victim of what I call misjournalism. Somebody went in that place and get some information which they should not have gotten, and they put a company in disrepute. Let's start there. Nothing wrong with finding out, but that person was not a journalist, and that's my problem.
You don't hear me
If
complaining?
the NDC,
I ain't
if the NDC can hold on, if the NDC can have these people know, traveling with them as ministers, whatever passport color they have, green, blue, yellow, black, and what they doing? Tying up, hurting the people to come and vote. For some strange reason, I'll call him Prime Minister Deacon, but Deacon Mitchell is on the ground. Prime Minister Deacon is on the ground. He's on the ground. Strangely enough, for the last 3 weeks, Deacon, why? You're on the ground. Where you like plane? Where you like Dubai? Where you like Saudi Arabia? Where you like nice things? And your people supporting you. Here's what. I am not saying that this NEC government is not doing good things in it. There are good people in the NEC government. And I won't cause them. No, they are good people. But when good people do bad things, and bad things start to follow good people, you know something is wrong. You all say all kind of things, but all the NMP ministers for the last 10 years and the years before that, you all forget NDC was there from 2008 to 2013? You all forget? The same Nazim Buck, who say we selling passport like fish cake, is now a CBI agent. Is Andrea Semonade a doctor? She's bringing Polaris. NDC people, you all not see what going on in there? 15 years to get a hospital. You all have a press conference with the same lady, Miss Bernard, Sam Bernard, without a doctor of medical background. NEC people, you all normal. But Keith Mitchell, Emily Pierre, Nolan Thompson, go ahead. Go ahead. You have a guy in Carriacou, a minister, cursed a policeman, and he come and boast about it. NEC, because he vexed. Come on. You have another one accused of selling vehicle, selling to be studied. Why you doing masters? Why you mastering? Studying? Sheldon, have a good night. Have a good night, brother.
No, hold on, my friend. You see, you said that Jenny, you didn't get to listen to Jenny, so you don't realize that the person is actually not studying. That the person has been kicked out of the master's program at the university. They've been told to challenge. I think they had to challenge by the end of May, and it does not seem that they have done so. So when they say they're studying, maybe they're studying how to get back to go and study. They lie. Maybe they're studying how to go back and study. But they're definitely not studying for their masters.
Sheldon, I will say this again. We in the NEP right now, I would tell our NEP folks, please, do not be on the negative side and pushing the negative agenda. And I mean, don't disrespect the NMP or the NDC because you put things on Facebook. And I mean, I know there's on both sides, but I'm begging. But what I'm seeing right now, let's deal with the facts. You have government ministers, clearly, they do it in parliament, clearly they do it openly, disrespect this country on many occasions, right? Nothing wrong, you all been young, mistakes have been made, fine. But when you have a minister say he calls the police, and yes I did because he vexed, yeah? When you have a minister in Guelph say certain words, there you go. Then in parliament, you say certain things in parliament, which a handset will always also show you that you said it. And you can see the minister who was there at the time, Mr. Ron, And I mean, come on. I'm not saying all this to say that get angry at all NDC ministers or MPs or whoever they are. But all these things, these men getting away with things that NMP should be on the ball with, and Mrs. Pierre, Mrs. Thompson, Jelani Clean, all you guys need to work on these things. Don't go the negative part. Please don't go down. We ain't going to do that. But deal with the facts, because trust me, these people cannot be serious with what they get away with. And lastly, Mr. Andy Williams, brother, oh God, give up. Later, sheldon.
All right, my brother. You have a good one. All right. 440-737. Now they're telling me to raise this one, right? Nice. 440-737-7, 341-473, 440-7377. That's the number for you to get us on the WhatsApp. You have to call us direct via the WhatsApp. Yeah? All right. Yes, indeed. So that's 1473-440-7377. That's for you to get us on the WhatsApp. Yeah, according to Jenny, Mr. Study not studying. So maybe he's studying how to study to get back into university. Maybe that is what he's studying. I know. Maybe he's studying to go and make Mawet on Jenny and so on. Maybe he's studying to do the PRO work of the National Democratic Congress. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what he's studying, but he's studying some kind of thing. Maybe that is where he's studying his master. Maybe he leave out a S. Maybe he's studying his master, not his masters, he's studying his master. And then let me fix something for them. Let me see if I could bring this up here. Yeah, let's fix something for them. So this is the New Today newspaper today, and I think what happened with them is that they miss that line too big. Let me remove that line. Yeah, let me fix that for them. Yeah. I think what he wanted to say is I am poster. You understand? So now we had to take it out from there. Here we had to put the I here, and then we had to put a space between here. Nice. So probably what George wanted to say is minister versus I am poster, because Jenny does post things and so. Yeah, so maybe that is where you wanted to put. So let me correct it for him and all them kind of thing. You understand? So maybe where you want minister versus I am poster, because she posts her program, she's a podcaster. Yeah? In fact, to tell you just how idiotic, dotish, and foolish that their so-called argument is, at this point in time, in the United States, the White House has officially recognized new media. New media means people who are doing the podcasts, people who are doing only digital media. We would recognize. The last time we really had printed newspapers in the state of Grenada was back in the year 2020. As soon as COVID started, the shift turned from the printed newspaper, which was traditional from ever since you started having media in Grenada. It was newspapers back in probably far back as the 1700s or before. But you know that was media. Then you got television. That was the new media at the time. Yeah, radio, and then you got television. And now media has progressed into podcasting. So there are many people who do podcasts. There are some people who do podcasts, they don't even get 300 people to watch it. You go back and look at it 2 weeks later and it's still under 300 people. Jenny's getting thousands of people to tune in on a weekly basis and view her programs. She is what you call new media. She's involved in new media. she's an individual who is working as a podcaster. She is doing investigative journalism. You see, the problem is that the people who are talking down to her do not know what investigative journalism is. So they would not be able to recognize it if it walk upon them and slap them in the face like Will Smith. They would not recognize what investigative journalism is. So that you might hear something as a rumor, and you may take that opportunity to investigate. So you ask questions, you get brown envelopes drop in front of your door, you go and you do your research, you read your documentation, you request publicly available files. And through all that, what happens is that you get a clear indication and a clear understanding of whether what you've heard remains rumor or is fact or is partially rumor, partially fact. And she does that on a weekly basis. If anything she says is not true, the individuals so named in her podcast have the opportunity to take her to court. You already have one that was so coward, he decided that he would put in place a thing to let's take this call and we'll come back to that one. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey.
Hey, brother, go right ahead. You're live.
Yeah. I wonder with George woman them running them out. All of them call themselves media workers or whatever. Ain't media workers are supposed to ask the real questions and not nice, friendly questions to people that they like?
You see,
why don't they ask?
The problem, my brother, and you had a chance to talk. The problem here, and I just want to point it out while you're saying that, the problem here is that these individuals who call themselves media operators, there are people who call themselves journalists who are nothing but political propagandists masquerading as journalists. You see me? I'm a politician. Everybody knows that. I'm a supporter of the New National Party. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows who and what I am. Yeah, but there's some people who try to give the impression of impartiality, and they're out there doing this nonsense. But go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, I see they had the chance. They were in that conference, or whatever you call it. They had the chance to ask Andy and them the same questions. They knew. I think each and every one of them know the truth. Why didn't they ask Andy the questions? No. And I looked at that program where Jenny was asking questions, and you could clearly see that these people was very, very shaky. They was afraid.
But brother,
I heard last night.
They went afterwards, and if you see the man sweating and man sweating in AC.
Yeah. Just imagine. That's what I'm saying, right? I heard a guy said on your program, I think it was not last night, I think it was the night before, because last night was different. He said that if he thought that Jenny was a bit wanted back up, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I saw Jenny was in full control. It's just that Ron and them trying not to give her a chance to reboot. They were afraid. They don't want to give her a chance, right? And from what I listened today, I mean, it's like Jenny really let it go on them. And she waiting. She challenged them to bring her to court. Go ahead. If you think a liar want to bring me to court today, I want to go.
Miss Jenny Simon.
I fight even me.
Miss Jenny Simon.
Even me, and I know that she lying on me.
She has already
I know she lying on
the
me.
Integrity Commission, huh?
Yes, she said so. Right? I know that I lie. I mean, you lying on me, man. I take you to court, I swear. Why they not doing it? Come on. It's clear, man. Just come out and admit, yes, I make a mistake and look, but I do it over and over and I resign and I what. So come out, stop making yourself shame. These people are just, and look, this thing start from the leader, because I hear my old lady used to tell me that the Apollo always wasn't a thief. I heard Jenny say that today, and it's true. I own and Jenny. And the Apollo wasn't a thief. Right? The person who encouraging you, look, man, You might have a little issue with somebody and, oh, that thing finished. But because this person you're thinking is your friend will tell you, look, man, you let that man do this, man, let him down. And you listen to him and you go and lick down the man and you kill him. Eventually, he wasn't you because you didn't looking at that. And this is what this kind of people is. All right? These NDC people just have to go. They are dragging this country too deep down. By the time we get rid of them, we probably have to dig we way out from a hole to come out back in. It's terrible, Sheldon. It's terrible, man. And NDC, as far as I am concerned, I think as far as the majority of people in this country are concerned, is just not doing anything good. They're taking claim for all kind of thing. Which tell me a program that they come out with. What new? I mean, except the program of corruption, not, that they're very good at that. From captain to cook, everybody corrupt. And I'm sorry, we just have to get rid of them. My friend, which is the leader, he under real stress in the individual. I understand he walking all over the place, he's sweating because he's afraid to take a plane now. He's just afraid of a little lady.
But you
remember, just come on the scene.
You remember back in the days, you used to have like when the Syrians used to walk up and down the place because they're trying to sell things.
Yeah.
You used to see them with a bag. Yeah, they used to start with a bag on the back and they're walking from one location to the other. Right now, the Prime Minister operating like them, he all holding.
I can't believe that man do that.
Nolene had the man busy. Nolene had the man busy.
You have a little lady, have you frightened and shaking, but it don't make sense. It's too late. He gone. That man gone. Anyway, let me give somebody else a chance. Thank you. Good night.
All right, my brother. Thank you so very much for your call. Yes, indeed. And look at what is giving trouble on the sidelines here. I tried to tell behavior. He's giving trouble on the sidelines. Yes, indeed. 14734407377. And you see, this is the thing. They don't understand what is new media. They don't understand what is investigative journalism. And because they don't understand what is new media, because they don't understand what is investigative journalism, they would attack someone like Jenny Simon. Yeah? Right now, you have podcasters, basically people doing the same thing that Miss Jenny Simon is doing, that I'm doing, in the United States and other countries that have millions, I'm telling you, of followers. You have millions of followers. And you're seeing that constantly growing. That is why the new US President, President Trump, has decided that he's going to give a certain number of people in new media. You may not like them, you may not agree with their stance, you may not agree with their politics, you may not agree with anything with them. But his team has recognized the importance of new media. New media helped him get into office. So they understand the importance of new media. They know that many people are not listening just with the old transistor radios, listening to the radio again, but that they're using their mobile devices. They may even be in their vehicle and still listening through their mobile devices to programs and so in their own country and other countries. So that new media has taken a different perspective in relation to how people receive news in the 2025 and beyond. So for some idiotic people who just don't understand and looking for a straw to grab at, to attack somebody and claim, well, they are imposter. Well, I tell you, it's imposter because she does post. Yes, she does post, she program. So it's imposter. Get it incorrect. Yeah? That is what I mean to say. Right? Nice. So she is providing an avenue for investigative journalism, and it is investigative journalism. She is finding out facts in relation to things and reporting these facts. The problem that these so-called journalists, and I'm going to call them so-called journalists because I want them to tell me, outside of the Media Association of Grenada, I've been involved in journalism since the year 1996. I've been involved in journalism in the state of Grenada since then. I've never been a member of the Media Workers Association of Grenada. Never been a member of the Media Workers Association of Grenada. Never even been part of any of their competitions or anything at the Media Workers Association of Grenada. Never. And with all of that, I'm still a journalist. I'm still considered a journalist. Yes, I have my political bias, but none of them could tell me that I'm not a journalist. But show me, where's the registry of journalists in Grenada? What qualifies an individual to be considered a journalist in Grenada? What are the qualities, the training, the qualification that somebody should have before they're considered a journalist? You have people that go into a television station and they start as a trainee and so on, and after a couple months and so, you realize that they're doing news stories and all different things like that, and these people are still not considered journalists. Jenny has been doing this program for over a year and something, but it's nitpicking. And it's nitpicking because they're trying to pull the attention away, and understand, because we're going to end on that right now, they're trying to pull the attention away from the content which she was speaking about, the issue she was speaking about, and make her the issue. Understand the tactic that is being attempted there. So right after that, they run on right along. The guy that's so afraid, Jenny, that he has blocked Jenny Simon from broadcasting anything from his show. But I challenge him to do the same to me, because I'll reciprocate and he'll never be able to publish another piece of video, audio, or anything from the New National Party talking points or any of the various avenues that I have. He will never be able to publish it, and I will give him some copyright strikes myself. And I ain't talking about one or two, because there's a lot of content that comes here that he rebroadcasts with his minions and tries to give the impression that he's some sort of independent. You ain't no damn independent. You're INDC. Do like me. I'm NNP. Stop that stupidness and stop thinking that people stupid and they could fool you. Junior George are talking to. Stop that stupidness about, oh, I'm independent and I'm creating a you damn lie. You are NDC. Say it as it is. You're getting your benefits under the NDC. You are NDC. I'm a New National Party supporter. Unashamed, unabashed. I ain't trying to pull no wool over nobody eye. Everybody know who and what I am. Yeah? Stop that stupidness. And then you realize, as soon as they get a lash one place, that is where it does run. They run to the safe place. They run for safety. So Andy gets at a lash inside the press conference now. Linda Straker and Jenny, so you run there for your safety now. You run there for your safety. And it's the same story. But if people are lying on you, you don't have to go on no program and all kind of thing and take the woman to court, put an end to it, file an injunction. She had to stop calling your name until a case come up, everything. Deal with it in the courts. Deal with it in the courts and end the story. Folks, I just have to deal with one thing here. Let me just take a short break. Let me just get this on here. Yeah, that's what happens when you have the little ones running around. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So 14734407377. Those are the numbers for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yes, you can call, but only on WhatsApp. I know some folks have been saying they're trying to reach me, and they've been calling directly on the internal line. No, you won't find me on that line. Sometime in the near future, we'll sort that issue out. But you would not get me directly on that line. Yeah? But the thing is this. I don't like people attempt to give the impression that they are something other than they are. You're a supporter of the NDC, come out and say you're a supporter of the NDC. Don't try and like a hole in some middle of the road. The nastiest comments, that's why I just, anytime I'm watching people think, I just turn off the comment section. The nastiest things you could be seeing said about people in the comment section of their thing, and they will never come out and tell people, have some respect. No, this is a person that make a contribution to Grenada. You have people that have made no contribution to our country, none, zero. They never work with young people. They was never part of a sports club. They never even go and play a game of cricket in the past year with the boys in the village. They used to feel they're too good for that. You have people that never even hurricane pass. They don't help in no way, no form, no format. They ain't doing nothing to help the country. And when people who have given their life in service to the country come and talking, and so these are the people that run under life to go and attack them and run under life to say all kind of nasty thing about them. And some of them so shame. They had to be saying it one set of thing with their profile and still create a fake profile to go and say what they have to say. That's a good thing. Me, I create no fake profile. I'm telling you as it is. If I can't tell you as me, I don't have nothing to say. That is me. And these people, these so-called people and them who's all these independent people in the media, in new media, those people seeing these comments coming under there, nasty, nasty thing, degrading women, saying the nastiest thing about men, things people don't know. They just come in and say it because they feel they're damaging that person psychologically or emotionally when they say these things, and they'll get the person to stop exposing the truth. So they say the worst things possible. And the host of these things would not even delete the comments or say, no, don't say them thing. They wouldn't even do it. They wouldn't call in the people and say, hey, let me not go there. They just let them go down the road and say any nasty thing about people, and then you could come and tell me you impartial and independent. You're damn lie. It is the way it is. 1473440737. And somebody mentioned Dr. Mitchell. Imagine all that Dr. Mitchell has done. I saw just the other day, I was looking at some photos that were posted to Dr. Mitchell's Facebook page, and he was at the NNP Lime, the end of month Lime, after work Lime. And he posted one or two pictures. There was one picture with him and some children, another picture where he was playing dominoes. You could see he relaxed, smiling, playing some dominoes. And if you all saw the type of nasty and vile statements that some of those NDC, imagine this, you hate a man so much, but you took the time to go into your device, go to his Facebook page, see the man, not a political statement, nothing about attacking anybody. He didn't say anything bad about the government. He didn't say nothing bad about anybody. Just the man relaxing, enjoying himself. And the nasty and vile comments that those NDC supporters came under there and were putting up under the man profile. Now tell me if you think there's people who psychologically are where they need to be, or they are so afraid that the Grand Master of politics in the Caribbean is still involved in politics, even though he's not the political leader of the New National Party, even though he's not the opposition leader. They are so afraid of that individual. Like they stay awake at night and they're having dreams, nightmares, waking up, because they understand that he's still involved and still offering assistance and guidance. And he's still there that when somebody needs some advice, they can go to him. They're so afraid to him that they're spending their time under there saying the nastiest, vilest things about him and cussing him out and all kind of obscene language. And all sorts. And when you look at the profile of the people that are doing that, some of these people and them not even old enough to have voted more than once. But they can be prime minister. What the hell did Mitchell ever do? What did he do? Dr. Mitchell lead us through various tropical storms. He led us through Hurricane Ivan. He led us through COVID. Yeah? He was one of the people that was working to rebuild Grenada after the fall of the revolution and the American invasion. Yeah? He gave a life of service. Somebody like that you go in and disrespect? His term of service is nearly twice the age of some of the people that I see doing this. And even some of the people who have the age, they never do nothing for Grenada. They never even play for a cricket team in the village. But they want to say the worst about other people who have sacrificed and have given for Grenada. The most some of them ever do is some of them maybe help pack a barrel in the States during Ivan and send it down. Other than that, it's just the family they deal with. But for Grenada, they have never, and they had the opportunity. If I could have done all that I did, work with young people in every part, that's why I'm so well known in Grenada. Because I've worked from every part, from Petit Martinique down to Point Saline. I've worked with young people from Petit Martinique to Point Saline. Over the years, after Hurricane Ivan, the Honorable Emlyn Pierre, the political leader of the New National Party, is the one that started a group called Spice Youth Promotion that ended up with over 400 young people involved in it. And I was part of that grouping where we used to go after Hurricane Ivan and build houses for people. The video and the audio records are there. Where we used to go and get some young people and bring them into all different type of activities, camp, different things. And when you look at those young people now, you see the vast majority of them still involved in positive activities. And in government, while you had a government going up to 2008 into 2013 that was saying, oh, the stadium can't do, the stadium, there's no thing to build the stadium. Or Emlyn Pierre, the New National Party, Dr. Mitchell came back and got the stadium in one lash. The same stadium that everybody jumping up in Intercolleen. The same stadium that went to football people going in. And the same cricket stadium that while I was still on the board of directors at the Grenada National Stadium, we had already organized for the refurbishment of here. It's going to be handed over just now. Only tell me thanks now. Tell me and the other people who was on the board of directors, Mr. Devon George and all these people, tell them thanks now. The former manager of the stadium, who this NDC administration come in and run, tell you man thanks now. Because all of us were the people that helped to organize to make sure that the cricket stadium was repaired. The agreement was signed with the Chinese from before. In fact, it would have been done long before election had it not been for COVID. And you know where COVID came from? Well, not where it came from, but where it exploded and where everybody was afraid for people to come from, China. So the people couldn't come. So when things ease up, you had the first guy came down, and then you had a team come, and they was fixing up, getting ready to start the work. Now the work is completed. And I'm saying it because I don't want these people and them who in the Ministry of Youth and Sport to come and play like it's them that had anything to do with that. They just happened to be there when the work was completed. They had nothing to do with it. But you will see them coming and cutting ribbon and saying, oh, look, we've repaired the stadium, and the stadium was in such a, oh, surely a tail. Well, you had nothing to do with it. Tonight, just talk it out. You had to say it as it is. And just now, I'm going to play the chicken farm thing again tonight, you know. I'm going to play it because I hear an idiot from up in St. David's. They're only talking about chicken farm, chicken farm. We go explain chicken farm to him tonight. You explain chicken farm. When they talk, they must talk with intelligence and knowing what they're talking about. They must not talk and just say things like chicken farm. The corruption around chicken farm was the NDC, not the NNP. But you see, they know that they're speaking to a group of young voters. They're speaking to all those young people who were born after Hurricane Ivan. And they believe that this group of young people that were born after Hurricane Ivan, that they can bamboozle the brains of these young people. That they could tell them NNP and do nothing. But these young people wasn't alive before, so they didn't know what exists. They come, and in that space of time, they end up with two NDC administration, as well as the NNP administrations. And this NDC administration have nothing to show for the time that they have been there. All the projects they're completing, New National Party projects. But no, they want to say Grenada projects. No, it's New National Party projects. It started, were conceived, were funded during the period of the New National Party. But they want to come now like it's something that they do. They don't do nothing. Nothing. Zero. Zil. Zot. We're still waiting for one house in Project 500. At least then we could have called it Project 499. And now you see them, And no, it wasn't a mistake on the poster for today. It's not scramble. It's a scamble. Because they're trying to scam the Grenadian people. That is why you see them running to all media houses now. So who are program, message them and they go talk. Who come in with weekly press conference. Who they're trying to save the minister from St. John so bad that right now, every time you go and you check on social media, and so is another post with her, she gone. The people at St. John don't want her. Pack up and go. We don't want you in St. John. Move. Time is over. After 3 years, you now know it have a place called St. John. You now know it have a ministry that you're supposed to be saying where you're doing it. When all they was jumping plane and flying Dubai all the time and jumping all over the place. When all they was modeling, like if all they in a fashion show, when all they go to different conference and so, every time they have a different section in the conference, all they come in a different outfit. Now all you know it are people in St. John. Now all you know to report on all the ministry. Enjoy the last few months of your one and only term. Enjoy it. All you. Enjoy the one term, the last few months of it. Enjoy it. Because to go, you will. That is a surety. I guarantee you today that is what is going to happen. Yeah? As soon as Nolene reach up in St. David, and Nolene going around and she meeting people. Well, let me don't even say Nolene going around and meeting people. Nolene going back around and meet people again. Because Nolene is no stranger to St. David. She's no stranger to the people of St. David. There may be people that do not know her in this context. So she's going there and she's interacting with them in a new form and a new context. But she ain't no stranger to St. David. She's always been around. So all of a sudden the Prime Minister frightened. January down to April, the Prime Minister of Grenada was not Deacon Mitchell. The Prime Minister of Grenada was Andy Williams. From January come down to April. Because every single week, the Prime Minister didn't spend a full week in Grenada between January and April. But as soon as NNP come out, and you say, well, Nolene and St. David, all of a sudden is meet your MP, community walk here, the Prime Minister is going to be here, he taking day and he making night, all 9, 10 in the night, the man in people's yard. He taking day and he making night now. If NNP so weak and all you go beat NNP bad, why are you frightened so? All you supposed to be afraid so? If all you're so sure on NNP, and so sure all you're going to beat NNP, and NNP supposed to be a dead party, and NNP supposed to be all the adjectives and so that you all put with it. If that is the case, why are you frightened so? Now all of a sudden, Joseph Andal, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, become the Minister of Local Affairs because he ain't traveling again. You're right through in St. Patrick, boy. He don't move in. Yeah? You ain't getting the Minister of Foreign Affairs to be foreign at all. He in Grenada right through. Yeah? So the people of St. Patrick West, they have to say to Mr. Jelani Glean, muchas gracias, because like you're growing the man. So he can't travel right now, he there. He going in a rum shop, ice cream shop, tire shop. Oh gosh. Shop is shop, he going in everything. He going on street corner, street line, bamboo bench. Watch. He going on farmers' farm, old people's home, police station, everything. He going in. All of a sudden. He didn't know that for the last 3 years, did he? But all of a sudden, he know that now. Because they need to come and ask for your vote again. So on one line, they're trying to bamboozle the young people. Because they know those young people, they don't know. There are voters who are voting in this election coming up. And voters who voted in the last election who have never known there to be taking a bus in the market square in town. They have never known that. They never know about that. They've only known about taking bus on the bus terminal. They've always known it to have a bus terminal there. There are young people that are voting in this election that do not know about Queen's Park. with galvanized fencing around. Yeah? And with wooden bleachers and things that used to fall down when intercall, and them convent girls had to jump on one night and it collapsed and things. Yeah. There are people who are voting in this election for the first time, don't know anything about those things. So when you hear some idiots calling radio and talking about, yes, I'm calling them idiots. You have to call them what they are. Common sense has been chasing them, but they have been much faster than common sense. It can't catch them. So when you hear them talking about things like chicken farm and all these kind of things, you just have to shake your head, because they are old enough to know better, but they don't want to know better. They prefer to dwell in ignorance. You could beat them on the head with the truth. They don't want that. They don't want the truth. They're not interested in the truth. The truth holds no value for these individuals. What they want is to be soothed by lies. They want you to tell them what they want to hear. They don't want to know the reality of any situations. Yeah? These people don't care to know the reality of any situations. And you know what? Let me see if I can go back to one of my older programs, my programs from last year, and let's get a little insight into the fowl farm. Now you take a look at a piece on the fowl farm. So, and please call them and tell them if they want to hear about the fowl farm, this is their opportunity to hear about the fowl farm. Let me just get it here. Nice. And folks, for some reason, I'm not getting the audio. I'm wondering what's happening here. Okay, let's try that a different way. Since that one isn't working, let's try it a different way. And we'll get it over here. Yeah, because you have to let them know the truth. Let them know the reality. Let them know what it, and especially the younger ones, because see, I'm telling you, what they're focusing on is to bamboozle the minds of the younger ones. The younger ones don't know, and in many instances, they maybe don't even want to know. They just accept wholesale what is fed to them. So we, as the ones who know, we as the ones who know better, have to take the opportunity to tell the younger ones better what it is that has happened in the past. Yeah? So let me just get on to this now. Great.
An attorney, Mr. Cradington Hood, is here also to assist in the legal issues. So I'll read the statement. The project entailed 15 acres of land, which was allocated to sell in the Bocage area in St. Mark's. Cell continued to occupy that land and placed personnel equipment and erected a small house on that land. And we have also done a lot of infrastructure in terms of landscaping to prepare the site for the project. Grenada Broilers Inc. was incorporated in April 2003 to establish or to do the same project. Between 2002 and 2004, Cell was a minority shareholder with GBI, government owning 75% and Cell 25%. GBI was successful in the tender process and signed an agreement for the procurement of equipment for the production operation of the project based on World Bank standards. 2003, Government of Grenada allocated $2 million of public funds to start the project. 1.2 million was used for equipment, past outgoings, travel, wages, salaries, consultant fees, up to then when the project was put on hold after Ivan 2004. I want to add quickly here that after Ivan, Dr. Antoine did his best to see how we could source financing for that project. Unfortunately, we know what happened then in terms of the economic squeeze. Thereafter, the loan agreement negotiated with Exim Bank in the USA, and Dr. Patrick Antoine was the lead person doing that. Loans condition on government remaining in good condition with Exim Bank facility. An auxiliary loan was negotiated between government and RBTT as part of a broader loan being negotiated. On account of Hurricane Ivan and Grenada's position with Exim Bank, neither of these two loans were drawn, and accordingly the additional funding for the project became unavailable. So hence in 2004, the project was put on hold. As a minority shareholder, I was extremely disappointed at this development. The lack of financing had brought the project to a halt. It left me in a very vulnerable position based on the fact that I had invested almost everything I had in that project. In fact, I've lost 2 pieces of my property. In 2006, I was left to believe that the new NDC government will immediately implement the project, so I enrolled in the ranks of the NDC and pursue their objective. Let me say here quite clearly, this is not about NDC or NMP. Because I was the chairman of the NDC for 3 consecutive years, 2 before the election, 1 after the election. I was a campaign manager for the NDC during the 2008 election. In fact, I blasted NMP about the project on the platform. So, it's not about NMP or supporting NMP, because I was in the bowels of the NDC. I was a member of the executive. The manifesto of the NDC of 2008 election regarding the St. Mark's constituency also contains a statement about the intention of that project. We were told that they will do it. The subsequent allegation of wrongdoing which I allowed to circulate regarding the operation of the project leveled at Dr. Patrick Antwine, certain members of the board of directors and against NMP administration were untrue and unfounded and unfortunate. Because there's something that was said that was not right. I unequivocally and unconditionally apologize for any hurt that was done to him, because I think that he did a good job. It is deeply regrettable too that I had not drawn the attention to the media and the public of the contents of the audit report by the Auditor General Department and into the financial operation of the project, which made it clear that there was absolutely no impropriety with respect to the financial operation of the project. That report is available. It is a public document. Events since then had led me to understand that while the outcome was less than I would have desired, the NMP administration during the period of 2002 to 2004 had operated with me in an honest and transparent manner. In fact, I think they have treated CEL far better than the NDC government. CEL prepared a business plan and held discussion with the Ministry of Finance as directed by Cabinet in 2008. In July 2009, CEL was advised by letter from Michael Church, the then Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, that Cabinet had approved the list of 31 acres of land at Bocage and Max and several other exemptions and waiver for the project. Let me say this. In 2001-2002, we had 15 acres that was allocated for the project by the NNP government. In 2008, I reapplied to reinstate the project, and I asked for additional lands. The NDC government added 16 more acres of land to the project site, hence the reason why we have 31 acres. But previously, originally it was 15, so hence the reason why we had 31 acres of land. There was much delay in the interim, and in the meeting held at the office of Panel Foster, that is PKF, that is down at Grenada, that is Mr. I will call his name, Henry Joseph's office, on May 27, 2011, at which Government of Grenada was represented by Mr. Chris de Riggs and also Henry Joseph, because he is one of the government advisors. Government expressed an interest in partnering with CEL for the implementation of the project. I must also hasten to add that even before that, the Minister of Finance, that is the Honorable Nazim Bok, he actually called us into a meeting and told us that government has the money to do the project. Therefore, government is willing to take the majority share in the project and to do the project, and CEL will not be marginalized. CEL will play an active part and a very important role with them. I'll go on. It was decided that a new company will be incorporated to overtake the investment, and CEL was given the assurance that it will not be pushed aside. Unfortunately, my good ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph, in his wisdom, thought it was wise to give Cell 7% shares and give the government 93%, which I bluntly refused to this day. In the meantime, the lease document for the 31 acres of land were prepared by the legal department of the government. It was done in 2010. That document was kept in the Ministry of Lands for 1 year, from 2010 to 2011, before it was given to Cell. It was given to Cell in January 2011. My lawyer at that time, Mr. Lloyd Noel, I signed and returned that document to the Ministry of Lands. To date, we haven't had no response from them. So in essence, the Ministry of Lands have in their possession a signed document for lease for that said land to Sunset Enterprise Limited. Cell continued to seek partners and investors for the project and had attracted the investors of several investors, and I have document. Not only that, we brought in suppliers of equipment and services, and I have the books I can show you. We brought in people from Israel, Agotop. They sent down one of the chief in person there to speak to Cell in Grenada. We met with the government people and he outlined everything. We have a letter where Agotop was willing to put in 85% of the cost of all the equipment. All they need government support. The Minister of Finance got a letter, he never responded. We brought in people from Colombia and Mexico through a company called ITA. They was also willing to put in 25% of the cost of the equipment as equity in the project, and not 25% as a soft loan to assist us. To date, that has not materialized. Government just pushed it aside because they were pursuing their own agenda with their own company. So while they were talking to us, there was the hard sell being Mama Guy and just fooling us around. In October 2012, Mr. Richard Nixon, Grenada's diplomatic agent, informed Cell that due to concern over the closure of Parliament and the manner in which the Lewis Hamilton issue was treated, the investors were very concerned about doing business in Grenada. Now, these are the same people that I contacted in China, and they said, at this time, no way, we ain't going to do no business in Grenada. By letter of December 13, 2012, from the PS of Lands, Cell was informed that Government of Grenada had decided to discontinue negotiation for the lease of the land. The problem here is we were not negotiating anymore. We had already passed that stage. We had a signed agreement, a signed offer that we gave to them, which they didn't even respond to. Mr. Noel responded on January 8, 2013, pointing out that the matter of lease of the land had already been settled since the draft lease had already been signed. Right. Documents in the company register shows that PFGL is a private company incorporated by Henry Joseph and having two directors, Henry Joseph and Jude Bernard. And let me add here quickly, very quickly, it's very important. Henry Joseph, who is now the Ayatollah of that company, a one-man quorum. I went to that man's office in 2009, down at Grenada, inviting him to come in to Cell as an advisor, a financial advisor to the company. He is now the one in charge. He's now the one in control. I went to Jude Bernard's home and invited him to come and assist me in the marketing area of the company. He's now on the side with Mr. Henry Joseph in that said company. In fact, Henry Joseph got in 2011, around September, October, $500,000 from the Petrocarib funds. That money was put into a bank, a local bank, Bank of Nova Scotia. And I'm mentioning that because the people who are signatories to that account are Mr. Henry Joseph, Mr. Jude Bernard, and Mr. Fitzroy James. These are the three persons who are signatories to that account. And they could do whatever they want with the money. Now, it's very unfortunate that this project was conceptualized, was developed, and has been promoted by CEL since 2001. I, your humble servant, Curtis Baptiste, is the person who started this project. Today, on all the political platforms, everybody talking about the poultry project for St. Mark's, but no one is giving any credit to CEL or to me about that project. It's very ironic, it's very sad, it's very heartless that the people who vested in that project, over 30 persons, local persons, have put in their hard-earned money to make this project a reality to date. And we are just being pushed aside. And Joseph and his cohorts are the ones in full control, with the support and permission of the NDC government. Hence the reason why we are here today.
I am Kajitan Hood. I became involved in this issue 2 days ago when I was approached by Mr. Baptiste to represent his interest in this matter. As a matter of fact, I have some documents here which the press would be free to have pictures or copies of. So I am here acting on behalf of CEL. Mr. Baptiste referred to CEL. It's Sunset Enterprises Limited. That's what CEL represents. And I would begin with the communication from the Ministry of Lands to Mr. Baptiste. It's a letter dated December 13th, 2012. And that's only about 2 months ago. In that letter, the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Miller, purports to say to CEL that the government has decided to discontinue the ongoing negotiations for the lease of land at Bocage. And remember, that's December. 2 months ago only. The government is saying to CEL, we're not going to continue the negotiations anymore. As Mr. Baptiste said, at that point in time, Mr. Lloyd Noel was his lawyer, and Mr. Lloyd Noel writes a very strongly worded letter, literally saying to the government, what are you talking about? We're not negotiating. You sent to us a lease to sign containing all kinds of conditions for the same 31 acres of land. We've signed the lease almost 12 months ago and sent it back to you. So there is no question of negotiations anymore. You made us an offer. We accepted the offer. We signed the offer. So we have a concluded contract. And that was sent, that letter in response was sent to the government, to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Community Development on the 8th of January 2013. And I pause to stress that these issues regarding the poultry farm in St. Mark's has been debated in Parliament for over a decade. Over a decade. Debated to and fro, who's wrong, who's right, what's happening. But now, at the end of the tenure of this government, we have a decision being made in December, communicated in December, after a lease has been signed. And here is an issue which I believe has to be dealt with by whoever takes the reins of government. Here is an issue that on behalf of Sunset Enterprise Limited, and I believe that they have a valid cause of action in this matter. So Mr. Noel says clearly what the position of CEL is. He says they have been occupying the land since 2002, and they've done several things. They've signed the lease, sent it back to you in January 2012, and you have not responded despite many follow-ups. Strange enough, there is a document in the Inland Revenue Department, and I do not know who is the signatory on the document, but that document purports to say that the 31 acres of land are owned by a company called Poultry Farms Grenada Limited. That's what is entered in that document as the name of the owner, and the name and address of the person in possession of the land. Cell is saying, we have been in possession of the land since 2002. So there is another issue. We have been there on the land. We have allocated resources, we have spent money, we have a house on the land, we have people taking care of the land since 2002. How come this document now, and remember, this document is signed on the 27th of December 2012. And this document purports to say that there is a valuation, this is backdated to 1st of January 2001. It's a backdated evaluation of land back to 2001. With an owner, Poultry Farm Grenada Limited. And Poultry Farms Grenada Limited, when we did our research, is a company which was only incorporated on the 13th of July 2011. So let's look again at what Poultry Farm Grenada Limited is. And all you have to do is to look at the articles of incorporation. That document in the registry, poultry farms cannot even say where their registered office properly is. One part of the document says the registered office is in Bukaj, St. Mark's. Another, I don't know if there's any office in Bukaj. Another part of it says the registered office is in Woburn in the parish of St. George in the island of Grenada. That's Poultry Farm Grenada Limited. And I'm reading from the document. You can see the document in my hand. It's there, it's available. Not only that, what concerns me about this company called Cell,
Not Cell.
sorry, PFGL, Poultry Farms Grenada Limited, is that in the document, in the articles of incorporation, there are very broad powers of borrowing given to the directors. I'll tell you about the directors just now. They can borrow money upon the credit of the company. They can mortgage, charge, pledge, or otherwise create a security interest in all or any property of the company. So they can do whatever they want with the land which they say they own at Bukaj. The directors can do that. That's what this says. They can meet anywhere in the sky, any part. They don't have to meet in Grenada. As a matter of fact, the strange thing is that on quorum, one director shall form a quorum of the company. So any one person has the power to make any decision in this company. It's here, quorum, one director shall form a quorum for the transaction of business at any meeting of the directors. I've never seen a meeting with one person yet. But that's possible under Poultry Farms Grenada Limited. And the quorum here can exercise all the powers of the directors. No business shall be transacted at a meeting unless a quorum is present. So unless one person is present, you can't have any business directed. This is comical. But I'll make when you look at it, you'll see something else. Remuneration of directors. The remuneration to be paid to the directors shall be as the directors may from time to time determine. So you only need one person to be a quorum, and that one person can decide how much money he gets. That's how transparent this company is. And that is the company that this government has tries to place 31 acres of prime land in St. Mark's into their hand, with all kinds of money that will be coming from investors, borrowers all over the place.
27 million.
And hear this now, worse than that. We talk about accountability. This document is saying the director is not accountable for anything they do. You believe it? No director of the company shall be liable to the company for any loss, conversion, misapplication, or misappropriation of or any damage resulting from any dealings with any money, security, or other assets belonging to the company. So I am a one-man director. I can do what I want, and I am not liable. I am not accountable. And I'm going back here. No director of the company shall be liable to the company for any loss, damage, or misfortune, whatever which may happen in the execution of the duties of his respective office or trust or in relation thereto. Unless it says, unless you have the view that he was not in the best interest of the company. But this is crucial. And I am appalled at what is contained here. But I'll take you even further, and I'm looking at just bits and pieces of this document. Execution of instruments. Contracts, documents, or instruments in writing requiring the signature of the company may be signed by a single director. All contracts, documents, and instruments in writing so signed shall be binding upon the company without any further authorization or formality. The director shall have the power from time to time by resolution to appoint any officers. The common seal of the company may be affixed. What this tells me is that whether or not there is a seal, whether or not the company has a seal, the signature of any one director binds the company. And that director, crucially, is not liable to the company for any loss. So that's where we are with that. So I have serious questions regarding the legality of the purported transfer of the title to Poultry Farms Grenada Limited. And I'm so advising my clients, Sunset Enterprises Limited, in view of the fact that there was this lease that was signed based on an offer by the government of Grenada. I have serious problems with the authenticity and the genuineness of that inland revenue document with respect to the valuation of the land and the ownership, and the fact that there seems to be a backdated valuation going back to about 11 years. My question is, what is the purpose of that? And we're talking about a hotly debated topic in Parliament. And these signal actions are taken when Parliament is prorogued. I also have the email correspondence here from Mr. Richard Nixon, who is saying that the Chinese investors are not interested because of the prorogation of Parliament. They call it a stalemate in government and not having Parliament. And they are concerned about what transpired with another investor, Louis Hamilton Group. And apparently they're saying to our diplomatic envoy, it is setting a precedence that oncoming government can reverse the deal of a previous government. So they are concerned. And Sunset Enterprises Limited is saying that they were well on the way to finding financing for the project with joint ventures when this unfortunate prorogation took place. And while this prorogation is taking place, the land is swiped from under the feet and given to somebody else, where quite possibly one person can decide the fate of the entire company and the land. Those are our concerns. This is the angle in which we will be taking, and it matters not, as far as I'm concerned, what happens on the 19th. My client, Sunset Enterprises Limited, I believe, will have a valid cause of action to challenge whatever title, whatever ownership that's purported to be exercised over the land at Bocage. As a matter of fact, I believe they have a strong cause in equity with respect to the conduct and the way in which the matters have been dealt with. And I believe this has been very deceitfully dealt with. Because there you have, up to October, Mr. Batiste and company are trying to find financing. When early on, even before October, monies have been allocated to apparently Poultry Farms Grenada Limited or some other entity from a particular fund, while Mr. Batiste is waiting to have that lease document sent back to him. So after that has been done, then on the 13th of December, he's been told by the government, we're not going ahead anymore. We've changed our mind. So there we are with this situation, and that's as far as I wish to go with this one, with what I have to say.
Yes, indeed, folks. So, yeah, that was the old me. There's the new me, right? Yes, indeed. So, folks, you've heard there from Mr. Curtis Batiste, now deceased, God bless his soul, who was the lead person for Sunset Enterprises Limited, they were the individuals that were attempting to do the fowl farm. He clearly indicated that since 2002, the lands for the fowl farm were given to his company. Yeah? And his company was doing the project that the government of Grenada, the new National Party administration, in 2003, had given $2 million towards the poultry project. And he listed how that money was utilized in relation to getting equipment and paying staff and for advisory services, those sort of things. And that by the time Hurricane Ivan came around in 2004, they had not spent the full $2 million yet, but that brought a halt to the entire project. The country was mashed up. So at that point in time, it brought a halt to the project. And then Dr. Patrick Antoine was seeking funding in relation to poultry farms, the poultry farm, to get monies from other sources so that you'd be able to actually do the project. Yeah? That project could have been done, and that the monies already invested, the 1.3 or so million dollars that was spent out of the 2 million that had been invested would have been elections came. They were unable to secure funding and so on because, remember, they were trying to get that funding from the Exim Bank. You often hear this government talking about the Exim Bank. They were trying to get the funding back then from the Exim Bank. Now, the problem was that after Hurricane Ivan, Grenada had to go into debt restructuring and all sort of things. You can't go for loans and these kind of things. You had problems. Remember, most of your agriculture was wiped out. Your tourism product was wiped out. Those of us who are old enough to remember, and I'm young but still old enough to remember what Ivan did to Grenada. So you didn't have no tourism. We didn't have no tourists coming to Grenada. It's construction that started to build the economy a bit until we got to the stage that we could have had tourists coming back into Grenada, and so, and that farmers could have get the other crops and so up, because what nutmeg trees survive, that was one, but the majority of nutmeg crop was wiped out. Cocoa, same thing, everything else wiped out. So you had that situation that existed that adversely affected, in other words, negatively affected the prospect of the fowl farm. It was not a case that NNP government had a couple $1 million in the fowl farm and it was spent in the wrong way. In fact, you heard Mr. Curtis Batiste himself say that the NNP government dealt with Sunset Enterprises Limited in a fair, honest, and transparent manner. He said it. You heard Mr. Carrington Hood say that they behaved in the NDC government of 2008 to 2013 behaved in a deceitful manner. Because what happened? So when you hear fowl farm, and you hear these NDC people talking about fowl farm, tell them go and find Jude Bernard where he there, and ask him about the $500,000 that was taken out of Petrocarib under the NDC administration. And it was placed in a fund at the Bank of Nova Scotia that he, Mr. Henry Joseph, and Mr. Fitzroy James had access to. Ask him about that. Mr. Chris D. Riggs might know something about it too. So you could ask Mr. Chris D. Riggs. Ask them what happened with the $500,000 that the NDC, not the NNP, the NDC administration took in relation to the fowl farm. They didn't give it to Sunset Enterprises Limited, the people that was fighting up with it since 2002. Remember, Mr. Curtis Batiste told you, he, for 3 occasions, was the General Secretary of the NDC. He was the campaign manager of the 2008 campaign that they win. So he wasn't coming there and just say a thing. This was an individual who was deeply involved in the NDC. And the same NDC came back and stabbed him in the back in relation to the fowl farm. They vested 16 acres in was supposed to be into his company. Never passed over the documents to him. Then they took the whole 30-something acres and gave it to, what's the name of the company? Poultry Farms Grenada Limited. The company that had 2 locations as the headquarters. Bocage in St. Mark's, and Woburn in St. George. And then, after people were secured as financiers for the project, and not under Poultry Farms Grenada Limited, under Sunset Enterprises Limited, you had people that were secured as financiers for the program. Then you ended up with the situation that Parliament in Grenada was prorogued. Remember, we had prorogation of Parliament. They locked down the Parliament because the then Prime Minister Tillman Thomas knew that if he did open the Parliament door and go inside there, he goosed the cook with gravy and potatoes. So he could not open the Parliament. So they prorogued it. So the Chinese investors who were interested in spending the millions of dollars to have that poultry farm up and running in Grenada, these individuals pulled out of the deal and they said straight up, they said, no, we can't fund this thing because look what they do with Lewis Hamilton. The new National Party government had a deal with Lewis Hamilton, and we see this thing on international news everywhere. You all pull out of the deal, and the man may have lost significant amounts of money. So we can't trust that we could work with any government of Grenada because you all have set a precedent that incoming governments are getting rid of agreements and projects with other people. And they also mentioned the prorogation of Parliament left a state of uncertainty with the people of Grenada and the economy and everything with Grenada. And that is true, there was a state of uncertainty. So I ain't hear Jude Bernard for a long while. Maybe I don't listen what he does be. But it would be a good thing to ask him about the $500,000 that is supposed to have been at Scotiabank with the access of the Poultry Farms Grenada Limited that he, according to Mr. Curtis Batiste, is supposed to be a signatory to, along with Mr. Henry Joseph. So imagine you go to a man and tell the man, hey, I want you to come and advise me on this business that I'm setting up. And you go to our next man and they say, hey, I want you to help me with the marketing. So he went to Henry Joseph. He wanted advice. Henry Joseph is a chartered accountant, well respected in his field. So he went to him for assistance in relation to that aspect of how he's setting up, to make it economically viable, not to make any financial mistakes. He went to Mr. Jude Bernard, who he believed could help him in relation to marketing. And these same two people come back and form a company and take the same lands that he had for the project that he asked them for help with. When all your NDC want to talk about the fowl farm, let's have that conversation. If I have to play this 100 times this year, I go play it 100 times. Let's have that conversation. Because you all try to give the impression to the Grenadian people out there that the NNP took hundreds of millions of dollars and threw it into a fowl farm, and the fowl farm, everything just went down the drain. You all ain't talking about how the NDC administration killed that project totally. And what in some quarters some people might call a corrupt act was taking place. You all take $500,000, that's $500,000, you know, out of Petro-Carib, put it in Bank of Nova Scotia, and give three men who have a company that any one of them could make a decision with. So if one of them decide they want to take, let's say they decide they want to take $80,000 and do something, they could just sign off and go and take the $80,000 and do what they want to do. And according to the laws of the company, there was no legal repercussions for that. So these people could have used that $500,000 for whatever they wanted to use it for. And it would be interesting. It would be very interesting to find out whatever happened to that $500,000. How was that $500,000 utilized? Is it still at the Bank of Nova Scotia? Well, it's no longer the Bank of Nova Scotia. It's now been taken over. I think that one was taken over by Republic Bank, right? It's now been taken over by Republic Bank. Is that $500,000 still on that account? Are the three people still signatories to that account? And has any of that money been spent? Or was the money returned to the government of Grenada? We need to find out what took place with that money. That might be an interesting thing, because that people like to call people thief. It have people like to say all kind of nasty things about people, and they always go up on a platform like they're greater than thou and more gracious than the gracious. Gracious. They always know better, and they're better than everybody. But when it comes to things like this, they have nothing to say. They have nothing to say. Folks, we're going past 10 o'clock tonight because we have some more of this to play.
For executing the project between 2002 and 2004. It comprised of 75% ownership by the government of Grenada and 25% ownership by Sunset Enterprises Limited. My role really was to lead in the negotiations of the finances, and of course to play the role as chair when the chairman was out. I was substantively the vice chairman of the board. I refuted the allegations immediately by virtue of the fact that the substance of the allegations could easily have been disproven, and were in fact disproven by a report from the Auditor General's Department that was published and was in the public domain. Notwithstanding this fact, the allegations flew fast and furious by the new NDC administration, and all manner of adjectives were used, all of them unsavory in relation to the project, and I suppose by affiliation, my own role as the lead negotiator for the financing and substantive vice chairman of the project. And so this has almost become, as it were, a papi show, to use a Grenadian term, in the context of having the project being raised on virtually every platform where allegations of improper conduct would come to be alleged to the NNP. So that my reaction at the time was to keep my powder dry, and for all those allegations that were made by the several persons, notwithstanding the Auditor General's report, I continue to hold my old ground on whether I will in fact take action now or in the future against other parties. In relation to Mr. Batiste, I understand, and I have always understood Mr. Batiste's position. When I came into the project as the vice chairman, virtually every other member of the board was against compensating him for bona fide, genuine expenses that he incurred in fact taking the project to the point at which it was at that time. There was obviously substantial expenses in relation to land clearing, land preparation, and a whole host of other things that he'd incurred in bringing the project, including the project documentation that was near, I would say, he submitted a fairly close to completed project document, which was only amended by the addition of, for instance, some new functions in the project, such as processing. But he obviously expended quite a bit on that. I actually led in calling for compensation for Mr. Batiste and the shareholders of Cell who would have taken the project to that stage. And so Mr. Batiste was compensated, largely because I pushed for it. I understand what it is to be a person who would have invested virtually all you own in a project, and to essentially hang your dreams and aspirations on it, the project, being able to compensate you for the expenses that you would have sunk in it. I understood too the fact that Mr. Batiste was vulnerable in 2008, having sunk virtually all his resources, and I do mean virtually all his resources, into the project, and not to have it materialize. I understood his anger and frustration. Were I in that position, where essentially you have a project since 2001 that you continue to invest in, even though you get some back, you still continue to invest in, I understand how anxious one would feel. And therefore the apology today, one, is welcomed by me because it's an acknowledgement by Mr. Batiste that things could have been done differently. Two, what he said in terms of feeling vulnerable is clear to me. I understand that. And so there is no anger. There is no guile on my part for Mr. Batiste. It is only for me tragic that the government would have taken advantage of Mr. Batiste in this way. That they would have recognized that he was vulnerable, that they would have recognized his anxiety to do the project, that they would have committed to doing it, and that they would have used Mr. Batiste in the way that they have. And let me say that I'm not surprised at all by the fact that they would have so acted, because Mr. Batiste is not the only person that they have done this to. What we're hearing today is a story that I have heard time and again in the context of the actions by the NDC in 2008. It is tragic that our society, that our civilization has come to this. But I am not at all surprised by this. Needless to say, I too accept Mr. Batiste's apology. I understand, and now it's a legal issue. It is unfortunate that on the eve of an election, we would find ourselves where no matter how the election goes, there obviously is going to be a legal battle. It is quite obvious there's going to be a legal battle. And if you look at this document, one set of interpretations coming from what I've heard the legal counsel say is that there's a basis for certain questions to be asked regarding whether some of the documents are fraudulent. And that, to my mind, is going to be the subject of a pretty interesting set of legal issues to be sorted out post February 19, 2013. It is unfortunate that we are where we are, but I think the evidence is before us. What is also instructive is the words coming from the diplomatic representative to China, where he is basically making the case that the prorogation of Parliament and the behavior by the government has caused him distress in sourcing financing for the project. I think this is instructive. But I think all the reasons are true. I think the first reason is the financing. That's why immediately we couldn't go ahead with the project. I think Mr. Batiste makes that point clear. I think the second reason is that this is in the context of Hurricane Ivan, where the project financing depended in part on government taking a guarantee against funds, which was to be counterpart funding to the funds that the project itself would bring in from Exim Bank. The Exim Bank financing required a guarantee from the government. And so the government had to take a decision. Do I guarantee loans in respect of hurricane rehabilitation and hurricane housing, hurricane shelter, schools, health centers, or do I take the guarantee against the poultry project? And in the aftermath of Hurricane Ivan, where the economy shrunk by 2 years GDP, that decision really was not a difficult one to take. You needed to have housing and schools immediately available. And so Prime Minister Mitchell's point that in the aftermath of the hurricane it wasn't viable was in fact a very, very, very apt and correct response. It is also true that I would have said that I would have advised against it, because we were talking at a time when poultry prices were down, and in fact, to my mind, the global situation with regard to proteins and meats would have changed. And today, I think that there is a basis to take another look, and I think the NNP manifesto says that they're prepared to take a look at this and other projects. When we were doing the project, interestingly, when we started, the project looked tremendously viable. Mr. Batiste also alluded to the fact that by the time we got to implementing the project, steel prices had begun to move. It's a global product. And so you have from time to time to look at the economics around the project to see when it's best to start. And of course it means that the project is going to be continuously subject to the global cuts and thrusts in the movement of prices for grain, for meat, for substitutes. So that once you engage in a project of this scope, you're opening yourself to a whole heap of factors, all of which are moving from time to time. And in some instances, some of them move all at the same time. And I think that is what we're seeing in the context of the project.
Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah, just letting you all know. Yeah, to safeguard my battery on that microphone, otherwise you all know what's going on. Yeah. So you all have heard it from Dr. Patrick Antoine, and he was the deputy chair of that organization. Let me take this call. A call is coming through. 1 second, caller. Let me just, yes. Hello, good night.
Good night, Mr. Sheldon Scott.
Camille Teresa Scott, how you do?
Well, not too bad. I day with me foot paining me. Well, chronic pain, you know. Chronic pain, Sheldon. There is nothing nobody could do. You know?
Yeah, I understand.
Chronic pain is not something easy to go through, but God is good. Sheldon, they wouldn't like you. Good night to all the Grenadian people. My apology first. Good night to all the Grenadians in America, England, Canada, wherever you all is. Patty and Matthew, Dr. Mitchell, good night. Miss Emlyn, to everybody, you and then everybody. And all those in Carriacou and in Grenada and the mainland. Sheldon Scott, they wouldn't like you. And they have no respect for you, Sheldon Scott, despite what? So for God guide you and protect you. Bust the bubble.
They like to talk about Fowl Farm. Let me talk about Fowl Farm. I don't want to call Shaggy and talk about Fowl Farm. Talk about it now.
Yeah, because for the whole of last week, you have a man from St. Paul's at the Shaggy program every morning, running him out. So I hope somebody call him tonight to listen. I never know the man dead, you know, God may so rest in peace.
Curtis has died, yeah.
I know Curtis is inside my house on St. Jude Street.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in New Orleans. I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know he dead.
A while now.
Well, a while now. That man take on that and he dead, they kill him, man. And all the names that call, Mr. Scott, these people, I want to call the name because watch, they go pay for it, you know. When you see these people blight, you know when blight take mandarin tree? They go pay for it, Sheldon. Sheldon, stay humble. Don't play greedy. Stay humble. You will see what will happen to these people. That man dead and he dead with this. What they do for him, do to him. He dead with that in his mind. And all these guys and them name that call they. They're dooming Grenada. Sheldon, hold up tape and them in a secure place.
Yes, 500,000, you know, $500,000 in Scotia, what used to be Scotia Bank. From Petrocarrier.
All the name of these big men and them in Grenada are big name. And then Mr. Hood come and he explain. And then Mr. Antoine, good night Mr. Antoine, wherever he is. That was my good friend. Come and explain. Sheldon put this tape and them in a safe place.
Yeah man, they're already safe and they encrypted. They can't even get that.
Educate the Grenadian people. Educate the Grenadian people, Sheldon. When they start, you bust the bubble. It's not you that them. Oh God, Lord Jesus. I ain't playing greedy, I say humble. Patty, good night.
Matthew,
good night.
All right,
and I'm glad I don't bright as them. I'm bright as them. Good night. Everybody have a blessed weekend. And hold on to y'all party. Hold on. NNPH, hold on. Are you ban with belly? But hold on. Freedom go come. Freedom, they go come one day. Ban on your belly. Ban on your belly. Have a good weekend.
Same to you, Cabby.
Yeah. Yes, bye-bye. And you take care of yourself.
Yes, you know.
Take care of yourself, Mr. Scott. Put this thing on them in a safe place for me.
We go talk, Cabby. Bye-bye. All right.
Yes, darling.
Yes, folks. Don't worry, man. Have it safe. Have it safe. And if they feel like the last time he played, no. He go play again. Yeah? He gonna play again and again and again. All you want to talk about Fowl Farm? Let me talk about Fowl Farm. We have a next Fowl Farm we could talk about, you know. Involving our current government minister. We have a next set of Fowl Farm we could talk about. We're going to leave that for another day and another time. Yeah? Folks, I'm nearly out of time and I didn't even deal with one of the other main issues I wanted to deal with tonight. And that is Mr. Colin Bishop. Yeah, Mr. Colin Bishop. That this gentleman here, let me see if we could find him there. That gentleman there that's in the picture with the Prime Minister. Yeah, he was somebody. That guy in the picture of the Prime Minister there. Now there are accusations against this, I can't say gentleman considering some of the things that he's been accused of there. But that individual in relation to the CBI program. Now he has a CBI company that is being accused of taking monies from people. In other words, people applying for CBI through his company, but the monies are not being paid into the government of Grenada. And also that some people who applied for citizenship under the CBI program through him, or maybe even others, I don't know if it's others, but at least through him, and they were refused, that he was taking additional funds from them and telling them, even though you were not approved. Now remember, there's a CBI committee that has to approve these things, and then it is sent to cabinet for confirmation, and then the signature of the Prime Minister as the Minister of Home Affairs, etc. So there's the committee that reviews all the things that is sent in along with the FIU. The FIU would revise and say, well, okay, no, this person is involved in some shady dealings. We're not too sure where the money coming from. That look like terrorist financing. That look like drug money, etc. And they would say, okay, we are not going to give this person or that person Grenadian citizenship. You should not. They don't make that decision, but they say you should not. So they make a recommendation. The committee then makes their recommendation to the cabinet. And the cabinet makes the final decision in relation to those things, right? So you have that sort of lineup. And we're going to go deeper into this on Monday. Yes, I do know Monday is a holiday. I didn't know before. I just hear earlier today, some friends of mine were saying, hey, Monday's a holiday, you know, and then I know Monday's a holiday. Yeah, I didn't even know Father's Day coming up too. But Mother's Day, we just always know. But anyhow, so this gentleman, Mr. Colin Bishop, has been telling some of those people who've been refused that he has links with the Prime Minister and with certain high government officials. That is the accusation in an article that I've seen, that he has connections so that he could get them to basically overturn the decision that was made not to give that person citizenship, and was collecting money on that behalf. Now I'm hearing allegations that the man kind of in hiding. I'm hearing as well that he was involved deeply with the Russian pipeline, that his company was deeply involved with the literally thousands of applications that came in the Russian pipeline that you keep hearing the CBI unit speaking about. They could call it IMA, whatever they want to call it. We know it as CBI. The CBI unit speaking about that he was directly involved in a lot of those applications. So it seems as though some of the Russians might be looking for the individual, and some people from Dubai and other places may be searching for the individual. That's the rumors we're hearing. Yes, there's a podcast, I could say rumors. Yeah. And sometimes we have to say rumors with a slight grin. Rumors that he is in hiding from those individuals. Now, the Grenada, according to what I've heard on Jenny's program, I didn't see it myself and I didn't get a chance to check before, but it seems as though now Grenada has issued a notice that his company is now being investigated. Yeah, the Prime Minister, chummy, friend. Yeah, his company is now being investigated in relation to the allegations that are being made. Yeah? So he was given the impression that he had a close relationship with the Prime Minister. And as I said, we're going past 10 o'clock, that he has that close relationship with the Prime Minister, that if your application under the CBI is refused, that they'd be able to speak to the Prime Minister and get that revoked. Yeah, in other words, they could get your local your CBI for you. Yeah, so we have to be extremely interested in the outcome of the quote-unquote investigation. Like all didn't damn well know what's going on. The investigation by the CBI unit. Because the CBI unit said they're doing investigation now, but if what is being said in the article is true, they must have known. Because they were making the recommendations to cabinet in relation to people, not to take this one and to take that one. So if they saw something coming back in relation to the same person, or if they saw the people being passed and so, they had to realize that something wrong was taking place. Because if your job is to make the recommendation, you made the recommendation, it was refused, then you see that same name coming back into the pool again, and that person being approved, even though you still have your negative recommendation on it, you in the CBI unit must have known, not may have known, not could have known, must have known what was taking place. So don't come and give us no wool over we eye that all you're investigating now. investigate all yourself too. Yeah, that is what has to happen. Folks, we're going to deal with that one more in depth because there are a lot of different angles to that one that we will not have time to go into tonight. I also saw an article that I found to be, not an article, but a post by an individual that I found to be very, very interesting today on Facebook. And I think most people know Igil Joseph, gospel artist out of St. John. And he's basically claiming that his niece is missing. And you saw a note from the police that they're looking for 2 young ladies, but the niece is missing. But that the niece is not missing from her home, but that she is missing from the home that has been sanctioned by the Child Protection Agency. So whichever facility, government facility, that child has been placed in, the child has run away from that facility. And in doing some further investigation, what I'm finding out now is that a lot of the times when we hear that this one is missing or that one is missing, that they're not missing from their parents' home, you know. That in a lot of these instances, they're actually missing from government facilities. That's what I'm picking up now. That in a lot of instances, these children are actually missing from government facilities. So the government of Grenada, not the government of Grenada, the Royal Grenada Police Force has put out a notice asking for anyone with information in relation to these 2 teenagers that are missing. Let me just put it up for you. These 2 teenagers are missing. Yeah. And one is Etonia Joseph and one is Kylie Hyacinth. You see what they look like. So if you see them in your neighborhood, you see them in your area, contact the Royal Grenada Police Force. Let them know that these children need to go. One is age 13, one is age 16. They have no right out there on their own right now. So if you have any information in relation to this, please contact the Royal Grenada Police Force. But that's not a good thing. We have to find out what is going on there, because you can't have a situation that you're taking children from their parents. Even we understand in many instances it might be a situation where the parent really and truly isn't doing a good job. They can't take care of the child. They cannot control the child. Different situation. We understand. In many instances, these things do happen. Although in some, you hear all different stories, as you're hearing in this one of these cases. Now, with that said, these children are not supposed to be getting away from government facilities. And I'm hearing that this is a constant thing. No, a lot of the times we see things and we're thinking that this child ran away from home. I saw one a little earlier. I didn't get a chance to copy that one. But I saw one a little earlier with a child that has been missing since April. And the release is just coming out that this child has been missing since April. Folks, this is the 6th of June. And the child left their place of residence, and realized they don't say home, place of residence. In other words, their residence could be a government facility. So that child left their place of residence in April. We are in the month of June, and the release comes out today saying that that child is missing. Something needs to be revamped. Something needs to be shaken up there. We can't have this kind of thing happening. What are we waiting on for? One of our children to turn up anyway? Let me don't even say it because they say out of the mouth. Let me do nothing to say like that. They shall return safely. They shall be returned safely. One of you listening to the program tonight will see one of these children. Contact the police immediately and let them know where they are. All right? Contact the police immediately and let them know where they are. Also, interestingly today, I saw this article in the newspaper. I tell you, I ain't going right now, you know. I comfortable where are they? Right? Yeah. I saw this article today. And in case you can't see where it says there, freeze on burial relief materials for no payment. That's in today's Grenada Informer newspaper. So it goes on to speak about the fact that many of the hardwares, etc., in Carriacou have stopped distributing materials and so on, stopped doing things because, according to them, they have not been paid by the government of Grenada. I thought Tevin and Andy and them in the press conference was talking about $40-something million that they have spent thus far. So where they spend it? if the people in Carriacou, the business places in Carriacou, say they're not doing any building material, this is by Paris and all these places, and they're saying that they're not doing building materials on behalf of the government, because in one instance, I think they say, yes, look, they're saying here, one of these people are owed $3 million by the government of Grenada, and they're talking about they spent 40-something million dollars to who? If the article we're seeing here, and I know usually the article for the Informer from Carriacou usually come down by, what's his name, Roll Patterson. And Roll Patterson is not known as a guy that does put out false information. He's a trained individual, and he's not known as a person putting out any false information. And we're seeing here that you have, look, they're asking here, the people in Carriacou asking, all this money they got, 118 million from CRIF, and they can't pay the hardware? So where has the money gone? Because if the hardware ain't get it, if some of the contractors still asking for their money, if you have all these sort of things taking place, where has the money gone? These people like to ask about money and accuse people of all kind of things. Tevin Ishmael Andrew. Yeah? Where has the money gone? Why do the people of Carriacou, who your ministry may have approved to get materials and so on, can't get it because they have not been paid? The hardwares have not been paid. Why is that situation existing? When yourself and Minister Williams are out there talking about $40 million in housing assistance and so on has already been spent. Yeah? And the hardware basically saying, all your lie. Fix it. Fix the problem. And folks, before I go tonight, I just want to run over some activities that are coming up with you all. And indeed, the first one, let's just go to it here. The first one is the Breakfast of the Women of St. George Northeast. That's coming up next week, Saturday, from 6 a.m. in front of Nick's shop in Bolio, only $10. And then you have St. George Northwest Youth Group. They've got their barbecue taking place next week, Saturday. That's $20. And it's by the Happy Hill Post Office from 12. So you're getting breakfast in St. George Northeast. You're getting lunch in St. George Northwest. They're having their barbecue by the Happy Hill Post Office starting from 12 noon. And then in the U.S., yes, it's coming up on the 21st of June from 9 p.m. That's the Exquisite Affair. And that's taking place at 1963 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11234 from 9 p.m. All right, so that's at the Carriacou Hall, and put on your fancy dan and head on out for that one. Then on June the 28th, the St. George Northwest Constituency Branch, they've got their breakfast and barbecue luncheon event. That's taking place at the Bourgeois playing field from 7 a.m. until music, drinks on sale, and $20 each. Yes, indeed, folks. So those are just some of the stuff that is taking place, upcoming. And watch now. I can't end and do show all you. Yeah, I can't end this and do show all you, my darling. Must show all you, my little darling. Yeah, hey. I must show all you, little Kalani, man. It's Kalani. Yeah, yeah. Remember, if you have the opportunity and you can, to support this little one. We can't go and not support. If you can, support this little one as much as possible. Those are the numbers for you to reach in and support the family. Folks, that is all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. And in everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. Yeah, ask Jude Bernard and Chris D. Riggs and Henry Joseph and them where the $500,000 that come out from Petro Caribbean end up in what was Scotiabank. And you had, I don't think Chris was a signatory, but the others were. Ask them where that money gone, where the money disappeared to. You understand? Yeah, ask them where that money going to. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Yes, we are on Monday. Even though it's a holiday, we will be on Monday night, God's willing. Looking forward to meeting you all then.
Father's home. Heaven is my Father's home. Heaven is my Father's home. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Christ lead me through. No doubt, the road that He went through before.